This is not the Azor I know. Azor is the kind of person that if you say, can you bring fish? I'm going to the park. Can you bring hair? She'll say, oh, babe, I sell hair too. It's the long one. Like, she can do everything. So something happened when I came. And then I knew that my friend has started operating from Peace. And I'm like, nah, you have to share your story.
You know that moment where you feel like, no, I feel like I am called for something. And what I'm doing presently, I felt it wasn't giving me that fulfillment. I felt like I wasn't living my purpose through what I was doing at that time. I got to read a particular book by T.D. Jakes, Reposition Yourself. That book changed a lot of things in my life. That was when I understood that there was something called let go and let God.
Hello everybody again, welcome to another episode of Journey to Surrender. Today we are going to talk about surrendering in business, and I am with my friend, my sister Azor. She is the creative director of ZM Candles and Scents. So Azor, welcome and thank you for the time. I really appreciate it. As I know your voice, thank you. Before I met Azor, I saw Azor online with her daughter, and she was all dressed, you know, those mommy and maid, you'll be admiring the person. I said, who is this person? Who is this person? Then I went one day to do my makeup in a shop, and I saw Azor. And after Azor charged me, she walked away. I said, which one is this one? Who is this one for me for? And then I got to meet her one-on-one, and then she taught me how to do makeup. Trust me, I can't show you what I learned because I've forgotten everything. I like, no. You're a good teacher, but I just have forgotten everything. So that's how I met Azor. And over time, Azor and our friendship has grown, and we talk. I send her message, voice note. I'll say, she said, Ope, you can do it. Ope, you can do it. I was in Nigeria with Azor. Azor comes to my house. Azor say, Ope, what can we do to make money? What can we really do to make money in this Lagos? Azor sold everything. If it can make money, Azor was selling it. She has sold hair. She has sold clothes. Can I give? But she has sold fish. She was delivering fish from Abuja to. I was like, Jesus Christ, what are we doing? And then I'll do my cooking business. Azor is a fantastic makeup artist, and she'll go, I just want more. Like, yes, I know how to do makeup, but I want more. And Azor went on to do school for business, and here she is today. Let me tell you, I have realized since I came, even before I came, I've been seeing her online, and I realized that my friend is operating from Peace. This is not the Azor I know. Azor is the kind of person that if you say, can you bring fish? I'm going to the park. I'm going to the park. I'm going to get. Can you bring hair? She'll say, babe, I sell hair too. It's the long one. She can do everything. So something happened when I came. Yes. So something happened when I came. Azor gave me her bill for makeup, and I'm like, Azor, this bill is high. I can't afford it. What's the price? She was like, anything. And later I was like, Azor, this bill. She was like, you know what? If you can't afford me, I understand. You can use any other person. I don't mind. And then I knew that my friend has started operating from Peace. And I'm like, nah, you have to share your story. How did you get from fish, hair, clothes to a place where you're like, you know what? It's fine. It's fine. If you can't do it, I understand. So I really want to know that story. What's your surrender story? How did you get here to this place where you're now doing scents and candles, and you're in this place of just peace?
Hi, baby. Thank you for having me here. It's good to be here.
Finally,
I get to sit on her chair. Okay,
because
just like
agreed. Because you agreed.
Just like she has said, actually. When you talk about someone who has hustled, I would tell you, yes,
hustle.
I have.
A boss.
I've tried my hands in different businesses. I have done, what's it called? Hair. I have sold fish in a very classy way, by the way.
Yes, very classy. She was packaging the fish. She get the fish, then she package it in
of course, and then I pride myself as a very multi-talented creative. I've been a makeup artist for the longest, which I started for a very long time, and I thank God for the journey so far. And yeah, how did I get to the place of peace, you ask?
Yes.
I find myself at a particular phase at some point, sometime in 2023. It was the end of 2023. At that point, I felt like I wanted more.
Yeah.
You know that moment where you feel like, no, I feel like I am called for something, and what I'm doing presently, I felt it wasn't giving me that fulfillment. I felt like I wasn't living my purpose through what I was doing at that time.
Yeah.
And you know, guess what? The devil has a way of working. I have this particular person I know. Of course, I know a lot of people, and this particular lady at that point.
Am I your friend? Am I your friend?
Answer
this question now.
Why am I seated here?
Okay, let's continue.
Anyway, so this particular lady felt, I mean, she had attained a particular height in her life, and which she tagged successful, and she felt because she had attained that particular height, and maybe I don't know how she was perceiving me at the time, but she felt it was okay for her to sit face to face to me, look me eyeball to eyeball, and call me a failure. Wow. Not like she said it word for word per se, but everything she said suggested to that. Failure. Do you understand? Yeah. Yes, of course, I've tried my hands in different things, which I never allowed God take over. I never allowed God to direct me in the place where I felt He wanted me to be. You know? So, and guess what? I got home. I didn't sleep well that night. I'm not gonna lie,
of course.
And there are certain points in your life where God will position somebody to
just shake you,
and make you do it.
Push you to your surrender.
See, I got home. I talked to my partner and told him this is what happened, and then he was furious. But guess what? I didn't allow myself operate from a place of anger. Rather, I believed this is probably a role this girl has come to play in my life, and
that's good.
She was meant to rechannel me to where I probably am supposed to be. You know, at that point there was this particular song then, New Wine. So I felt that music spoke to me, and each time I listened to this song, I felt God needed to make me His new wine, change whatever it is he felt was changeable in my life. And at that same time, I got to read a particular book by T.D. Jakes, Reposition Yourself. That book changed a lot of things in my life. That was when I understood that there was something called let go and let God. And what that particular experience did for me was made me understand that I've been struggling, I've been hustling, I've been going around in circle. That was how I actually understood that I needed to let God take the wheel.
Take the wheel,
you know. And then I had a very close friend of mine who asked me, so we usually are accountability partners. She asked me, Zora, what's your plan for 2024? And I said, babe, left, right, front. And I'm someone who likes to plan myself.
Me too.
You know, I like to plan myself. I like to tell you, oh well, in
this is
quarter,
what I'll do.
Exactly. But guess what? At that 2024 January, I didn't know my left from my right.
Yeah.
You know, and I felt that was the moment God wanted me to seek His face.
Yeah.
And I went back into my shell. A lot of people try to reach out to me to know if I was okay, because I'm that type that when I'm excited, you see me everywhere, literally everywhere. Like if you see me posting my pictures left, right, and center, just know I'm in a very good place. But if I disappear, something is going on. You know, so it was that point for me where I started to look inwards. I got to understand that I've been living my life for people. I got to understand that I've been living my life based on people's validations, you know. And the moment I realized that it was time for me to see, I'm even here not by my power, it's by God's power. You know, I told myself as well, go back, find your God. Find that way you will find your purpose. That was when God took over my life. Let
Yeah.
me just put in it, for lack of better word, God took over my life and changed a lot of things about me. He made me understand that, yeah, people would come into your life at some phase to play a role, and once their role is done, they
It's
move
over.
on,
Yeah.
you know, and it's left for you to learn the lesson. Those people come into your life to teach you, and you move on with
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
So during that phase in my life, God allowed me find my purpose, and
Yeah.
I can tell you comfortably now that, oh well, that is what I was running. I didn't say that, I mean, I'm not still doing several businesses.
Several
I mean,
businesses,
I
but-
pride myself as a serial entrepreneur,
Yeah,
you know,
but you're
but
working
then
from a place of peace.
peace.
Yeah, working of place of
I've
peace,
had
and that's-
clients try to book me, and then I tell you how much it is I charge, and then you're like, oh, I'm like, it's okay. You know,
Like,
it's okay.
I really would be upset with you.
Exactly.
Oben. It's
I
okay.
wouldn't have been
Yeah,
actually.
I could even feel it. But I could feel it from the text message.
truth is
When I
that-
said, oh, she means it. She
I've
means
gotten to
it.
that point where
Yeah.
I feel I'm living my purpose.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like I'm at that place of peace
Mm-hmm.
where it's either what I do is teaching the next person something. I don't go into things because everybody is going into it. I'm going into it because I want to be able to, I mean, leave a legacy.
Yes.
Live like I mean, people are looking up to me. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's how
that's-
I
that's-
was able to navigate that.
That's very beautiful, because when you were speaking just now, what I could get from that was there was a tug in your heart, and that is actually God pulling you to surrender. That's actually God saying, come, are you not tired of running?
Yeah.
Are you not tired of doing all of these things? Let me help you. And sometimes when God wants to help you, you really need to just be in that space where you seclude yourself and let God lead. A story that came to mind is the one of Peter. I think it was Peter and Andrew when they were fishing.
Okay.
And they had fished, they had toiled all night, right? They had hustled all night. And then Jesus was preaching and just said, okay, can I use your boat? Can you take it in there into the water? These people did not complain. That was a time of, like, they were done, they were tired. So they were in that place of, in quote, seclusion, and they were there, and Jesus finished preaching.
Yeah.
And when Jesus finished preaching, he was like, okay, you know what? Come and cast your nets. So I believe, this is me just saying that Jesus was actually preaching and working on them in that season where they were just sitting, because they had not caught fish all night.
Yeah.
And they didn't even grumble, they just sat still. And when God said, okay, come cast your net, they said, oh, this has not happened all day, but at your will, at what you have said, I will do what you have said. And they surrendered, and their net broke. Like,
Wow.
because of a lot of fish that they
Fishes,
caught. Yeah, do you get what I mean? So it's a place that I feel that God has personally called all of us to, where we surrender everything that we have. And it's not, surrender is not a sprint, it's a marathon.
No.
It's like, today you are surrendering your character. Myself, that I really like food. God has also walked with me in a place where I have surrendered the way I eat, right? And I have surrendered a lot of things. So we are constantly in a place of surrender. Have you ever surrendered in hope for a particular result? Like, oh God, see what I've done now, help me, or meet me somewhere. And it didn't come that way.
Well, I'll say yes, I have, and I'll give you an example of where I found myself, how I found myself there. I was going through a particular phase. Again, a phase is always a phase.
Yeah, it's okay.
I was going through a particular phase in my life, and I had this friend of mine, and we had fallen out. Okay, and this is a friend who we grew up together, did a lot of things together.
Yeah.
You know what you tag a best friend, that was
Yes.
what she was like
Yes.
to me, and we somehow lost our beautiful friendship, you know. And at that point I was angry, you know. I was angry because of a lot of things, and I found out that as I was angry, I was slowly turning into who
you
I
are not.
wasn't.
Yeah,
you know.
100%.
And I remember vividly A particular incident that happened
Yeah.
where this particular friend of mine had given birth. Because of the pain and the anger I felt
Yeah.
for this girl,
And the betrayal and all.
I was upset though.
Oh God.
Fact,
If
I
we
was
want to be real, I
upset.
know.
Do you get? I was upset, and then to make matters worse, this girl now gave birth. Now, how angry I was like, why did she not die while she was giving birth?
Yeah.
Again, this is not who I am.
Yeah, it was.
That was when I told myself, oh my God, what are you doing to me?
Yeah.
Why would you allow me go through this kind of pain that I can even
Think that way. Yeah.
this
It was
way
the
towards-
devil actually capitalizing on our pain. And that's what the devil does. If we don't forgive people, the devil will capitalize on the pain we have.
Yeah.
And before you know, it was not Cain's clear eye that he killed his brother Abel. It was not his clear eye. You don't just wake up
See,
and
it was-
the devil just capitalized on that pain. And God brought a warning. It was like, look out what's gonna happen. Be careful. Cain. And Cain still went on to do it because
You know, and at that point, I was really going through it.
Yeah.
I said it felt like a physical jab on my heart.
Yeah.
And then it felt as the more I get angry with this girl, the more it seemed she was successful.
Of course.
Do you understand?
Yeah, because she's God's child, right?
I know it took me understanding that the more I felt angry with this person, the more I held myself down.
Yes.
And I told myself, God, oh yeah, shall do what you want to do with me, because me, I'm not understanding this kind of
want to
thing.
surrender.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
You know, I knelt down. I told God, Baba, I don't do now.
Yeah.
This vex, why they vex for this girl? This girl, Fino even know say, excuse my
Yeah.
pigeon, by the way.
Yeah.
Fino know say, I'm even angry with her,
Yeah,
and I'm even
yeah.
nursing this level of pain
Grudge and pain, yeah.
in my heart for
Yeah,
her.
yeah.
You know, it made me, I told myself that it should be a point of prayer for me. And I started talking to God about it. Guess what? God healed me.
Yeah.
God made me understand that the way I love you is the same way I love this human being.
100%, yeah.
Do you get? And God was speaking to me at the time, but I didn't want to listen.
didn't want to listen.
Because
I
I
know.
wanted to be angry. She needed to apologize.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not in our own making now.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, you can be holding a grudge on somebody, and that person doesn't even know
The
that
person
you're
doesn't
even
know.
existing or
100%.
even that upset.
Doesn't even know they offended
them.
you. Yes.
You know,
Yes.
so I know that that particular phase in my
It's a
life
hard one.
was a time where God was speaking to me to surrender,
surrender, and
but
you were
I was
not-
being
you're like-
silly. I was being a nutcase, but
Yeah.
I thank God that He gave me the grace to be able to heal and listen and surrender to Him.
You know, funny that you share that story. I remember there was a story. So I am still a blogger. So I started blogging a long time ago. I started blogging a long time ago. And then I had a lot of negative remarks. Not a lot. To be honest, I actually had a few negative remarks. And I was like, oh, I'm not going to do this again. I was just running around. Then one of the people that was mean to me started blogging in 2022. And this girl was just going, and I was upset. I said, this girl that will say, I'm doing this too much, I'm doing that. I'm like, how is she blogging now? Why is she doing this thing now? She said my own was too much and all of that. And she's doing exactly what I did. One morning, I was telling God, I was trying to talk to God, and I was just struggling. As in, that took me through a journey. And then I said, God, why am I so upset with this girl? He said it's because she's doing what you are supposed to do. And I said, okay, how can I? He said, she's doing what you're supposed to do, and she's doing it better than you. And then I realized that, okay, obey. It's not that because she's doing what you're just supposed to do. You're upset that she's doing it better than you. So it was time for me to really just
And it wasn't like she had
surrender.
better skills than
No,
you
no,
did.
not exactly.
Yeah.
But it was just that someone was showing up. She was more disciplined. She was doing it better than I. She was more consistent than I was. And I was getting angry because she was one of the major people that was attacking me when I was blogging. So I was getting upset about that. And I realized I had to surrender, because surrender is not a day's job. It's every time you keep going at it and saying, Lord, I surrender this to you. Even just coming on this trip, I almost didn't make it on this trip. And when everything was like, oh, my passport was here, this was there, that, I just told my husband, I said, you see, I'm not going to bother. I'm not going to stress about this trip. I said, I am okay if the Lord says that this is not where I am going now. And that was how I surrendered on this trip. And when the thing came out, it came out like magic. Like that's a story for another day. But it just goes to show that whatever we are doing, God is interested in it, and He's interested in Him and trusting whatever you're doing into His hands.
Yeah.
So, another question I have for you: have you ever been in a situation where you know that God is asking you to let go and let God, but it just doesn't make sense to you?
Yes. I think I found myself there. So, shortly after the birth of my brand, ZM Candles and Scents, which I believe was God that helped me start up that brand. And from the onset of that brand, I have seen God's hand in this business, and sometime towards the end of last year, I met with a friend who advised I try China. Okay, and at that point, of course, my my business was already generating
Income.
a good income. A good
Enough income.
substantial profit, if I should say, and at that point, I've always, before I make a decision on ZM Candles and Scents, I'm always very particular about taking it up to God in prayer.
Yeah.
Because I believe God gave me the idea of that business.
Yeah.
Because He found me worthy to be able to take care of it.
Yeah.
Because I carry it so much like it's my baby.
Yeah.
And that time last year, I was at that point where this business has generated a lot of income, I must say. And here I am between choosing going to China and between investing that money into my business. I knelt down and I said, Baba, they said if I go to China, my eyes
make
will open
more,
in
you see
so
more.
many
Yeah,
things,
yeah.
At that point, for everybody I talked to about making this decision, it didn't make sense to anybody because they felt this is a new business. Why take the profits of the business and take
China.
a business trip to China? Not only are you going to maybe struggle when you come back, or of course, you know how it is to run business in Nigeria. It's not more, So, but I told myself that if God feels ZM is capable of making this trip to China, He should make it come true. Yes, it doesn't make sense to anybody. But if it makes sense to God, they will give me that visa. Guess what? When the visa came out, ZM Candles and Scents was comfortably able to fund that trip to China. Yes, everybody was saying no, it wasn't a good business, but it opened my eyes to so many other business ideas, so many other ways for me to run my business. ZM Candles and Scents, by the way, don't mind this girl that said that I've hustled fish and all those things, But did it make sense to me to invest that amount of money? No. But did I allow God to make that decision for me? I did. And to be honest with you, I don't regret it. I am grateful that I listened and
what God has said. It really doesn't have to make sense to people,
because most times it doesn't.
It will not. That's the loneliness and surrender. That's just the loneliness and surrender. Sometimes God will tell you to do something. Like it wouldn't have ever made sense for Abraham to ask Sarah, I beg, God told us to sacrifice our son. What do you think? It wouldn't have made any sense.
The fact is that it wouldn't make sense to people.
It will make sense to people. It wouldn't even make sense to the mother of the child. But so sometimes when God tells you something, it will not make sense to people and it may not make sense to you. So the fact is that you should also just surrender and let God lead. So I have one last question for you before you go.
Okay. It's already time.
It's
I still like this audience. This is so good. This is so great.
But this one question is: the last guest said, trust in the Lord with all your heart. And when you trust in the Lord, that's where surrender starts. No matter what, like we just said, it doesn't have to make sense to people. If it makes sense to the Lord, we are going with the Lord. So I want you to give an advice to the next guest. What would you say about surrender to the next guest? Something I can tell the next guest.
Okay, so I'll go with what the previous guest said. Trust in the Lord with all your heart.
Yes.
Whether it makes sense to people
Oh,
or not.
Okay.
Because the truth is, whether it makes sense to them or not, if God is your guiding factor,
100%.
you have all you need.
Yes, 100%.
So I will take it to the next guest and say, trust in the Lord with all your heart. Because even if it doesn't make sense to the next person, and God is guiding you through whatever it is or whatever it is He wants you to surrender to, trust me, He's going to see you through. And all you need to do still is to let go
and let God. Yeah. So thank you very much, Azor. Thank you for this time. I really appreciate it. And thank you guys for listening in. As Azor has said, let go, let God. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. And it really doesn't have to make sense to everybody. I know though that when it doesn't make sense, it can be lonely. You want to share with people and they'll say, oh yeah, go for it. But if you don't have God's backing, you're just going to struggle. So let go, let God. Doesn't have to make sense to people. Talk to you guys soon. See you later. Bye. Thank you so much for joining on this episode. I hope this episode has made you feel less alone as you embrace your journey of letting go and trusting God. So feel free to like, share, and comment on this episode. And see you soon on our next episode. Bye.